The first time I ever interviewed Billy Graham on television was on BBC Two in July 1964. I asked him what he regarded as the single most touching or moving demonstration of faith he had ever witnessed. He responded,
I remember the opening night of our meeting in London in 1954, which you certainly remember, and the press was all against us. Every newspaper. The church leaders that had brought us there, many of them had deserted us. It had been brought up in Parliament as to whether I should even be allowed to land in Britain or not, and everything seemed against us. I had invited Senator Stuart Symington and another U.S. Senator to be my special guests there. And that afternoon, Senator Symington called me on the phone and said, The American ambassador feels that because of all this bad publicity that we should not come. Instead, we're going to have dinner this evening with Sir Anthony Eden, who was then the Foreign Secretary. And then I was called to my little hotel about a half an hour before the service, and they said, The place is empty. There are 400 newspaper people here taking pictures of all the empty seats. And we had rented this place for 3 months. And so my wife and I got on our knees and said, Now, Lord, we're prepared for anything you want. It can be a total flop, or it can be a success. We leave it in your hands. I had great peace about it. It was an exercise in faith to even go out there. We went out there. We didn't see a person. We got out of the car, and one of my associates came out of the door of the Haringey Arena and said, Billy, the place is packed, and there are 5,000 people on the other side trying to beat the doors down. And I said, Where did they come from? The associate said, We don't know. God must have sent them. And we were there for 3 months, and not only did we not have empty seats, but we had 2 and 3 services a night on some nights to take care of the people, and ended up at Wembley Stadium with the press all for us, and the Archbishop of Canterbury sitting by my side.
In retrospect, it hardly seems amazing that so many people showed up to hear the 20th century's most powerful preacher. But at that time in 1954, in a country where Dr. Graham did not know what kind of reception he would receive, I can understand why this was such an important faith moment in his long ministry. I can also understand why people came, and why they came back again and again for 3 months. No one presented the gospel of Jesus Christ as clearly or as straightforwardly as Dr. Graham. He believed his message totally, offered it without apology, and stated unequivocally how urgent he thought it was for people to accept Christ now. And thousands responded. It was the same when I interviewed him on television in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. People responded. This book of conversations between my grandfather and legendary interviewer Sir David Frost, well known for his controversial interview with Richard Nixon and the film Frost-Nixon, is an eye-opening and revealing look at the faith of Daddy Bill. Reading about my grandfather's doubts and failures in black and white offers a refreshing view of his life and his relationship with Jesus, and demonstrates the unmerited grace of God for all of us. In these pages, Daddy Bill talks with David Frost about the things he wished he never said, his failures as a parent, as well as those difficult questions he feels he will never be able to answer on this side of heaven. Also, because these discussions took place over a 30-year period of time, he shares his perspective on everything from Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement to preaching the gospel in the former Soviet Union during the Cold War, and even mentions human cloning. He talks openly about meeting many of the American presidents, describing the first time he met Harry Truman, and about his relationships with Eisenhower, Nixon, Kennedy, Reagan, and Bush. Frost asks Daddy Bill to describe his morning study time, and my grandfather explains exactly what he reads every morning, how that fills his soul, and how he likes to share with people out of that overflow. As you would expect, this book also gives us an inspiring picture of his zeal for Jesus and his passion to share the good news everywhere he goes. I hope you enjoy reading and reflecting on the words in this book. You'll get a clearer picture of Daddy Bill, the man behind the evangelist known around the world. Tulian Chabigian, May 2014.